never be treated that way, and I'm deeply troubled about it, and I'll also be talking to the Secretary of my office today about it.
I have ordered an investigation to be conducted of the events that are captured in those images.
When you have an administration that has abandoned any pretense of securing the border and securing our sovereignty, you see the onrush of people like what we saw walking across this dam.
We will get it under control.
The general sense we have is that the administration is eagerly expelling as many people as it can, while letting in a few people to appease public opinion.
July 81, never forgot, you know, the day that I had to leave home and also to leave my country. You know, you leave everything that you know, and you came to a country where you don't know, you don't speak the language, you don't know the people, the culture is so different.
These images at the Texas border are difficult to imagine. They certainly stir up a lot of emotions, but they are just a snapshot. Immigration has long been a part of the fabric of America, but for places like Haiti, emigration, the leaving of one's homeland, is what has often connected our two nations. So what happens to a country when generation after generation goes searching for opportunities elsewhere?
The majority of migrants continue to be expelled under CDC's Title 42 authority. Those who cannot be expelled under that authority and do not have a legal basis to remain will be placed in expedited removal proceedings.
What we're seeing is a continuation of Trump's policies. To put this into perspective, if someone presents themselves within 100 miles of the border, they are entitled to a credible fear interview. The credible fear interview is when an immigration officer, asylum officer, sits with the person and determine whether this person has a credible fear of returning to his or her country.
That is Miami-based immigration attorney Friendly Julien. I sat down with him to try and learn why nearly 15,000 Haitian refugees recently showed up on the doorstep of the small border town of Del Rio, Texas, and what might happen next.
So when the Biden administration started using Title 42, everybody was shocked.
Let's pause for a second. You're going to hear a lot about Title 42, so let me explain what it is. Title 42 went into effect in March of 2020 during the Trump administration. U.S. officials could bypass existing immigration law because of the threat of COVID-19. The very law that allows a person arriving at the U.S. border to seek asylum through what's called a credible threat interview by an immigration officer. It's this interview that can determine whether your case to stay is credible. And if it isn't, you can be turned away. The Americans treat Haitians very bad. If someone is from another nationality, they aren't deported. Only us Haitians are being deported, she says.
We are demanding records. We are demanding rosters. We are demanding that our brothers and sisters are not treated as animals, but as human beings. Even
when compared to Trump, Trump had more excuses to use Title 42 because at the time of Trump was at the stewardship of the country, there was no widespread testing as we do today.
No vaccine.
Vaccine as we do today. You see what I mean? So there's really no excuse for the Biden administration to be resorting to Title 42.
It remains to be seen if Title 42 will continue to be enforced by the Biden administration, or what the next immigration policy evolution will be for those actively seeking asylum in the U.S.
I know you're probably dealing with some of these folks and you're communicating with these folks and you're hearing these personal stories. How did we get here? I'm trying to lay out for the audience, how did we get from Haiti to Texas,
The reason for that is the starting point. We, in this case, with these people currently at the border, we have two starting points, Brazil or Chile. Most of these people left Haiti shortly after the earthquake.
The new one or the old one?
The old one. And you know, Brazil was getting ready to organize the World Cup. They were organizing Olympics, you see what I mean? So they needed people. So they welcomed a lot of Haitian, Chile for different reasons. After that, you've had political change in Brazil, a new president that is, you know, was less tolerant of strangers. So the conditions have changed in those countries. So these people decided to come to the United States.
Some people get raped, some people die.
Yes.
Like, it's very hard.
We are very concerned that Haitians who are taking this irregular migration path are receiving false information that the border is open.
They went to Peru, then Ecuador, then Colombia, then the Darien Gap, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, then Mexico. You see, this is arduous, as you said. They finally made it to the destination. The least they were expecting from the United States is the application of U.S. law.
You can feel the desperation, destitute of these individuals. They're getting aggressive, rightfully so. They've been in the heat day after day after day, and it's something that it's very challenging to describe in words, but it's extremely chaotic.
What happened in Del Rio is just one of many immigration stories. For the lucky ones, making it to America can change the trajectory of their entire family story. But it's also changing the trajectory of the countries they left behind. That's long been the situation in Haiti.
If you are looking at Haiti right now and see what the country is going to, just think back almost 40 years ago, how the country was. The country really was a little bit better, but it did not offer you anything. A lot of young people were finishing school, high school, college, universities. There wasn't any job for them. So the only solution was maybe if they go somewhere else. At the time, it's either you were coming to the United States or some people were going to Cuba. I was born in Haiti. Haiti, Port-de-Paix, Haiti, not Port-au-Prince. You know, a lot of people tell you they were born up. No, I was born in a small little city in the northwest part of Port-de-Paix.
Today, Marie finds herself in Broward County, where she recently won a seat in the Florida House of Representatives. Like many families in the Caribbean, Marie's parents encouraged her education at a young age. She had ambitions of becoming a doctor, and she was on course to do exactly that. But in Haiti, it's not always that simple.
Haitian parents know three things. They know medical, lawyer, or being an engineer, those three things. And of course, my dad wanted me to be a doctor. And I went, studied very hard, took the exam. My name did not even show up on the list because I did not have any godfather or anybody to push you in. So he decided to send me here. It was a very hard decision, and I remember the day that we had to leave. My mother was crying, he was crying, everybody was crying. But he said, I have to do this. I can't leave my kids in a situation where they cannot go to school. My father used to make me teach kids during the summer whose parents couldn't afford to send them to school. So I think my public service started there.
That was only part of Marie's journey from Haiti 40 years ago. Since then, she has raised a family with children that will soon graduate universities. But the Haiti of today is struggling with political corruption, a recent presidential assassination, 2 devastating earthquakes, COVID-19, extreme poverty, and a real lack of physical and economic security, all of which contribute to new generations continuing to flee in search of a better future abroad.
As an adult looking back, it means the world to me. And I would tell you why. When you come from a country like Haiti, where the country did not offer you anything, and what I mean anything, did not offer me a thing, like they say. Being in a country where you can take advantage of so many great opportunities, I am grateful, I am thankful that my parents were able to make such a great decision at the time, a decision that I really hated. I keep thinking if so many of us did not leave, maybe we could have been of service to Haiti and maybe the country would be a little bit better for us and for others.
We as a community, we are grateful. But at the same time, you have a cognitive dissonance when you see the caliber of these people who are coming to the United States, who will be contributing to the U.S. economy. And you know how useful these people could have been to Haiti had the situation been different.
I think the diaspora would love to sit down with the leadership of Haiti in collaboration with the United States. And we're not saying for the United States to take over, because this is a word that the Haitian community does not like to hear.
But to leverage.
To leverage our resources, yes. To have a conversation where we can leverage, our power or our resources in order to make things happen.